Hello and welcome to this vlog, where I look a little bit like a Sith who couldn't get out of bed in the morning to go to school. Oh, now I look like the guy from South Park. Alright, anyway, the topic today is having done things right in life. Doing things right in life, and what that even means. But first, a word to my sponsor, my bad skin, because without it, I would have probably ended up staying in superficial, narcissistic relationships that weren't good for me. So thank you, skin, for being so annoying and stupid and looking so awful, because without you, I maybe would have not been in the place to filter out these people and be like, you know what, if this makes me look awful to you and that's so important to you, then screw you, as I say. You have to say it with an accent for effect. Anyway, I don't know if this is just a cultural thing that I've been experiencing being an immigrant in Germany, but it certainly seems very common for people to have this notion of what it means to do things right. Not in a moral sense, I mean in terms of life building, life design, path tracing, as I call it sometimes. And I would like to refer once again to the analogy of the escalator, which I learned from the world of ethic relating. No, not ethic, sorry. Ethic non-monogamy, or rather authentic relating, where you want to be very aware of what you're doing. What patterns are you following? How much of what you're doing, in that case, in relating to others and building relationships, is truly authentic and not being influenced by scripts in your subconscious mind or socialization or any of that. And so I think that totally applies to the life as a whole. So the relationship escalator says, for example, you go on a date with someone, step one, and then you start moving, and then it's like, I think the standard script from American high school films is like, kiss, make out, have sex, keep dating, fall in love. At some point you're in a relationship, like weren't you from the start? And then I don't know if that holds for a long time. Maybe you and then some people expect you to be in a relationship before the sex. Side note. Yeah, at some point you get engaged, married, you think about buying a house or having kids, whichever comes first, that sort of thing. And so with life as a whole, we have the same thing coming out of an education system that's like a pipeline, where you're just like this, all the way to the end of high school, and you're expected to do all the things the way they're laid out for you, the way, there's only one way, essentially. Yeah, you can pick subjects, yeah, you can kind of, do a little bit of your own thing, but at the end of the day, you have to get that high school certificate. Nowadays, you really have to go to university, because a bachelor's is pretty much a minimum for anyone who wants to earn well in Europe, for anyone who wants to immigrate to Europe and work. It's become almost synonymous with how much are you worth as a person. Do you have a bachelor's or not? And if you want to earn then really well, then you have to have a master's. And we're going through this inflation where everyone just wants to keep following the same track to be safe and have done everything right. That's what I meant. What are the dangers with this? Well, for creatives, it feels an awful lot like everyone's the same and it's boring, and that can be triggering for us. But besides that, it ends up putting everyone into a mold that may not necessarily fit them. That can actually be a good thing. Yeah, it pushes you, makes sure everyone is reaching a certain standard that goes into certain industries and certain positions. Of course, we need to have quality control, but at the same time, it's not the right way for everyone, and it doesn't necessarily show that you have that quality. And vice versa, someone who passed the test may still, no, that's the, you know what I mean. Okay, someone can have a master's with honors and all the things and still be kind of useless. And someone can be incredibly talented, intelligent, creative, whatever, and not have anything on paper. So, yeah. Okay, let's not rant about degrees though. This is about all of life and doing the right thing, having done things right. So that also means, for example, financial planning, which I can definitely recommend to everyone. But just because you didn't manage to doesn't mean you've messed up or you've done things wrong or you're stupid. So yeah, financial planning is hard. Saving up. Life happens. And we all have different personalities. We all have different ways of thinking, different brains. And there is just no one size fits all. So what I want to say is the most important thing, in my personal opinion, is to do the right things for you. And how do you figure this out when there's so much pressure to go in the pipeline and stay into it and go faster and perform, and the pipeline keeps getting faster and faster and insaner because of technology and economy, and at the same time you have to, how do you take time out to figure out who you really are and what you really want? Well, of course, reading is one of the greatest things ever since it started existing. Some things that have personally helped me a lot is having a great circle of friends and mentors, like people you can just talk to who will actually help. Coaching, therapy, anything you need in terms of feedback and input, but also just going inwards a lot. Meditation, all the cliches. Spending time alone, journaling, analyzing your thought patterns, your structures, just being really self-aware and thinking, where is this coming from? And if you don't feel like you have the capacity to that, you're like, oh, I can't be bothered, I just want to live my life and do my job and go home, watch TV and sleep, then maybe you're lacking energy. So then you have to start with the biology and blah, 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 blah. So that's why I lived this whole life of preaching this and living this, because at the end of the day, you may have gone a completely different way and end up at a point where you're just so happy with your life and you're much way better off than someone who did everything right, has absolute security, has success, money, I don't know, what are the standards? A nice house, good looking partner, car, many kids, whatever, And deep down, they don't even know who they are. They don't know what they want. Or they just kind of have this pesky sense of unfulfillment, even though they have their dream job or something. Yeah. So, of course, I'm keep comparing to a very stereotypical view of what, in my personal opinion, is the worst case scenario. There's a lot of people who go through the pipeline and do have this awareness and do enjoy it and do come out winning as well. But it's important to be aware of the difference, because the difference is up to you. It's internal. And don't let anyone tell you what's right and wrong. Yes, there are guidelines. Yes, there are rules. And often there are requirements. But you can play with those in order to figure out what you really need. And that's what I do. That's why I have such a strange and wonderful life. All right. Enough for this one. Getting warm. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Live authentically. And see you then.